You know, when you hear Caribbean iGaming market, your mind probably jumps to this idea of a golden opportunity, right? And at first glance, Grenada seems like the perfect spot to set up shop. But our data shows there's a huge catch hiding just under the surface. So a little about us, we're the Gambling Databases research team, and our whole job is to cut through the hype and give you the real, data-driven story on iGaming markets around the world. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what's going on with Grenada, from those really appealing regulations to the, well, frankly shocking cost of actually doing business there. Okay, so this is the kind of thing you hear all the time from consultants, right? Grenada is a promising gateway. And hey, it sounds great. It's the kind of line that gets a lot of operators excited. But our job is to dig in and ask, is that promise for real, or is it just talk? All right, so first up, let's look at why Grenada looks so good on the surface. We need to understand the appeal to see the full picture. I mean, look at this. On paper, Grenada is pretty much a dream come true. You've got everything: online casino, sports betting, lottery, all totally legal. The rules are clear and easy to understand. Plus, and this is a big one, players don't get taxed on their winnings. That's a massive draw. Then you throw in a stable government and the fact that almost everyone has a phone and internet access, you can see why operators think they've hit the jackpot. Okay, so the legal side looks fantastic. So the next question is obvious, right? How hard is it to actually get a license and get started? And again, the answer seems, well, almost too good to be true. The process for getting a license is just ridiculously simple. You send in your application, pay a fee that's, about $600? I mean, that's nothing. You go through a quick review and boom, you could have your license in hand in just 3 or 4 months. Seriously, that's one of the fastest and cheapest processes you will find anywhere on the planet. Okay, so let's just pause for a second here. A stable, totally legal market, a fast, super cheap license. It sounds perfect, right? The absolute dream scenario. So what's the catch? Because there's always a catch. And oh boy, this is where our numbers start to paint a completely different picture. Yeah, because the moment you stop looking at the pretty regulations and start running the actual numbers, that whole beautiful picture, it doesn't just fall apart, it shatters. Okay, first number, and this is the big one. The entire population of Grenada is about 113,000 people. Let that sink in. That's not a city, that's barely a large town. Your entire potential market is just tiny. It's a deal breaker right there for most. And so that tiny population generates a total market GGR of around $50 million a year. But here's the kicker. That isn't your revenue. That's the entire pie for every single operator in the market combined. You're fighting for scraps of an already small pie. And from whatever tiny slice of that pie you manage to grab, guess what? The government wants a massive chunk of it. You've got a 30% gaming tax, plus a 28% corporate tax. When you do the math, you're looking at an effective tax rate of almost 50%. 50%. That's brutal in any market, but in one this small, it's just wow. And this next number just perfectly sums up how backwards the whole situation is. The minimum, and I mean minimum, cost to just get set up is over $250,000. So you're spending $250,000 to enter a market where you're fighting for a tiny piece of a $50 million pie and then giving half of that back in taxes. The math just, it doesn't work at all. So let's just lay out the grim reality here. Your initial investment is going to be somewhere between $250,000 and $500,000. Then you've got annual cost of at least $150,000, mainly because they make you have a physical office on the island. When we ran the models, you're looking at 4, maybe 6 years just to get your money back. And to actually see a positive ROI, realistically, you're talking 6 to 8 years. It's a long, long road. So that brings us to our final verdict. And really, it's a tale of 2 completely different stories. From a regulatory standpoint, it's a dream. But from an economic standpoint, it's a total nightmare. So who on earth should even think about this market? Look, if you're a startup, if you're actually looking for profitable growth, or if you need to see a return on your money in less than 5 years, just stay away. Seriously, definitely avoid. Now, who could consider it? Well, there are a few very specific cases. Maybe you're a big regional player who's just collecting Caribbean licenses, or you're a tech provider and you need a legal sandbox to test out a new product. Or maybe you have money to burn on what is essentially a brand-building exercise. And that's really the bottom line, isn't it? The crucial takeaway is this. Grenada is legally a walk in the park, but economically, It's a brick wall. It's the perfect example of a market where the rules say yes, but the numbers scream no. For probably 95% of operators out there, it's simply not a profitable venture. And that's our data-driven take on Grenada. If you want to read the full, in-depth report on this or check out our analysis on other countries, just head over to our website at gamblingdatabases.com. And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on, doesn't it? Is a perfect regulatory framework worth anything if it leads to an economic dead end? That's the fundamental problem with the Grenada market, and it's something every operator needs to think about long and hard.